It is the morning on the newspaper review segment right here at Prime Media TV. I am Ayo, bringing you all of the juicy headlines that we have to be reviewed with you today. And part of the many headlines that caught our attention is from Vanguard. Don't blame us for your inability to participate in NYSC. JAM tells HND graduates. Let's quickly see the story. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has asked HND graduates not to hold it responsible for their inability to participate in the recent National Youth Service Corps. The board was responding to claims by the prospective NYSC candidate that it was responsible for their inability to participate in the mandatory one-year NYSC scheme. According to JAMB, I quote, "It is important to emphasize that JAMB has no involvement, authority, or control over the admissions process for HND candidates," the board explained in a statement on Monday by its spokesman Fabian Benjamin. The statement reads in full, the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board wishes to clarify its position regarding recent claims made by some HND graduates who are falsely castigating JAMB for their inability to participate in the mandatory one-year National Youth Service Corps (NYSC). It is important to emphasize that JAMB has no involvement, authority, or control over the admission process for HND candidates. And here is the story that we are diving into today. And as always, I have my co-host with me in the studio to anchor the segment together. Nathaniel Israel, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right. So this story for me, it is a little bit personal because I have a lot of people who this is affecting. I have some persons who did their OND part-time program and they further went for HND full-time. Not majorly because they want to skip the process of JAMB, but because at the time that they went for their OND program, there was really no much resources, and all that they could do then was to go for part-time and work while studying at the same time. Then by the time they were doing their HND, there was opportunities for them to get sponsors and they went for it. Now, JAMB is saying that this set of HND holders should not put the blame on them for not allowing them to go for NYC, because part of the many things that they have to tick before they can go for their service is that they have to be regularized by JAMB. And this is where we are. So I don't know what you are seeing from the story. So I would like to hear your thoughts on the conclusion from JAMB that they will not allow this set of students to go for their NYSC. Do you see this as a sort of discrimination, or we should just see it that there was no much information that was given to these people prior to this time, hence what they are experiencing now?
Well, I really do not want to get so much involvement in this story. That's basically because I am not let me say I am not affected by their development. But basically what I would say is it is not a good impression from JAMB saying they should not be held responsible for for HND students, HND graduates, not to have to be enrolled in the ongoing NYSC program. Well, if proper information was disseminated, I don't think anyone will want to be ignorant about the fact that they know that in the future they will not be allowed to participate in the NYSC program, and they want to continue the process of having to study, knowing fully well that in the future they will not be allowed to participate in the NYSC program. I don't think that would ever happen. I think there was no proper dissemination of information. That is basically what has led to all of this.
Yeah, exactly. Because according to JAMB, they are saying that the section whatever of their constitution is said that before anybody can apply for OND, that they have to meet up with certain criteria. So I think there's an issue with the dissemination of information, as you have stated, because I cannot know that with my OND certificate as a part-time student, that if I should go ahead to do my HND as a full-time student, I would be affected by the time I would be going for my service. I wouldn't have that information and still go ahead. So I'm saying that the problem here is from the dissemination of information. So I want to hear your thoughts on discrimination. My thought is that when you know that I know that if you look at the percentage of students who are going into part-time schooling, some of them, some percentage can be because they don't want to go through that jam process. It could be because they don't want to do 1 year waiting before going to school. They just feel like, let me just go and do part-time, and that is a fast forward for me to go to for me to go and do direct entry for HND or for BSc, and there won't be need for me to go through that rigorous process of waiting for JAMB to give me for me to pass JAMB and whatever. At the same time, there are categories of people that they went into part-time schooling because there was nobody to sponsor them,
Exactly.
and because they have to make something out of their life, they went
Exactly.
for it. So, how do you see? I want to hear your thoughts on the aspect of discrimination. If you know that on the long run, these people will not be eligible for NYSC, why did you even create room for part-time studies? Because there was a recent report from Ministry of Education that they said about 27,000 Nigerians in a country like that,
Benin
in
Republic.
Benin Republic, they are going about with fake certificates.
Certificate, yeah.
Why? Because the system in Nigeria is a mess, and they feel like, oh, if I can go to the school over there, I don't need to write jump, I don't need to go to UT for UTME. All that I need is screening. I would just get into school and all of that. So let's speak on this part of discrimination. Do you think what JAMB is doing presently is right? According to them, they said FG and NYSC are the one that sets the criteria for FG and NYSC are the one that sets the criteria for people to go for NYSC and all of that, that it is not JAMB. So I want you to speak as regards to discrimination. What do you make out of this? Do you as well see it as discrimination, or what are you making out of it?
Well, it's obviously discrimination, because it is not too pleasing to hear that people who were allowed to go for part-time studies will no longer have the same opportunities. Those with full-time opportunities, they will no longer have the same opportunities to go for the NYC program with the full-time
Certificates.
certificates. You understand? And I don't know how to place it, but first, let me say this: education is power. So for one to have made up his or her minds to want to go through the process of attaining certain level when it comes to academics, it means we all know that we are in a country where if you don't have your certificate, whichever qualification at all, you are not regarded as anything, and
Yeah.
you're not even opportune to get a good job that can pay you at least above average of what you should earn. So basically, I know too well that majority of students out there who are into the part-time studies and all of that, they are basically into that because first of all, they know that without a qualification, they cannot get a good paying job. That is what Nigeria is about. So without education, without my certificate, I can't get a good job that can pay me very well. So they have gone through the process of going through part-time studies so as to be able to meet up with working and schooling at the same time. Because basically, a lot of people who are out there who are schooling as part-time, there are people who I feel they sponsor themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
They sponsor themselves through school, and many of them get involved in some kind of
Menial
linear
jobs.
jobs that would pay their school bills and take care of them and all of that. So after going through all these processes, they now attain the certificate, and you're not saying they cannot be allowed to participate in the NYSC program after it was probably stated earlier that the opportunity might be open for them or is open for them to enroll. So why is it coming up now that they are not going to be allowed?
You see, for me, I see that JAMB is They are just trying not to take responsibility.
Yeah.
Because yeah, as much as it is NYSC and the federal government that sets the criteria for anybody to go for their service year and whatever, it is still the responsibility of JAMB to make it very obvious. Like currently, I have some persons who are reaching out to me from school, and they said, because like I said, I did a part-time schooling.
Okay.
They kept on reaching out to me to go for JAMB regularization and all of that. These are some of the information that JAMB ought to have disseminated
A long
long
time
before
ago.
now.
Yeah.
Or you keep on disseminating it, make it very obvious, make it very evident,
Make it mandatory.
make it mandatory that if you know you are going for your OND part-time, make sure you do JAMB regularization. This is the only
If
thing
not,
that will
these are the things
qualify
that you will have to deal with
yes,
in the future
the
that will
future.
affect you.
So
So
JAMB
there
as
was no
well is
proper
not taking
information disseminated.
as much as those people are the one that is setting the standard. You should for you to be on the safer side, so that on the long run, when issues like this occur, you say, but we give out this information there. So I see JAMB not taking responsibility. They're trying to shift the blame. They're shying away from the responsibility. Yeah. So it is expedient that as much as these people are not vocal enough to let people know beforehand that this is the criteria, you, because you want to avoid your name being rubbed in the mud, you should come out to say that, okay, this is the criteria. If you are doing the part-time program, these are some of the things that you may likely face in the future. So as soon as you are wrapping up your OND program, ensure that you do JAMB regularization, submit it in your school or whatever. Then we are going to do this. And also, I feel like what JAMB can do is to extend the time. I understand the regularization ended over the weekend on the 30th of I think the 31st of August. They can extend it because there are a lot of persons who would still be interested in going for service. Now let's move this conversation to this going for service. Because I have some people that we all did part-time programs together, and they're like, I have to go for my BSc full time. You see that khaki, I must wear it. So what are your thoughts concerning this NYSC 1 year compulsory service? I'm not even sure it is compulsory, but because there are some places that you cannot work. You can't work in some places if you don't have that NYSC certificate.
Exactly.
And if at all you get employed there, your salary will not be up to those people who has the certificate. So what are your thoughts concerning this compulsory 1 year service for the Nigerian students? Do you think it is something that we should continue with, or they should scrap it? At least by the time they scrap it, it will save the federal government's money. Exactly. And it will also help the Nigerian students to also gather experience somewhere, practical knowledge of the field that of their field of study even before they get employment. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, left for me, I don't have much to contribute as regards this information, but I would say NYSC should be discontinued because NYSC has lost its original purpose. A lot of students are held a handicap because some of them, they have, before they even went through school, they have practical knowledge of one or two skills that have been acquired even before school. So I feel that 1 year, students after graduating should be able to use that 1 year to, those who don't have the skill, they should be able to use that 1 year to at least acquire a particular skill, or if based on your own choice of study, if it's something you can put into practice on your own, or go somewhere else to have an advanced knowledge instead of being tied down in a space saying you're doing national youth service and all of that. It's not even a favoring idea at all. And see, left to me, I would say NYSC should be scrapped. It should be discontinued. It shouldn't continue up from now, because it's not. I just, like I keep saying, it has lost its original purpose and value.
But if you don't mind, can you let us into the original purpose and value of NYSC for the sake of our viewers?
Serving Nigeria is, according to them, to serve Nigeria and to serve the government, and showcase what you have gone to school for, the number of years you actually learned, you studied for, to go and showcase whatever, or to go and probably have an oral way of showing that, okay, you have gone through these processes and this is how you can be able to serve the country, and show to them that yes, you're qualified for the field you're looking out for. The original value of NYSC, if I must say, should be focusing more on the intellect of the
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 students.
students, based on their own area of discipline, whatever course it is that they have gone to school to study. Focus more on how they can be able to put
To have practical knowledge of
of
that
that field,
field.
exactly, to put it into practice. But as it is right now, I feel NYSC is just focused more on generating money. They are focused on the aspect of fundings. Anything that has to do with money is what NYSC is basically into now. Our government wants to generate more money from it, and I don't know the persons who are also involved in the monetary aspect of the NYSC for NYSC scheme. It's all about money, money, money. How they want to generate more money. So I basically don't want to go into more of the details of this NYSC stories. The only thing I think I should say is NYSC should be discontinued, based on the fact that it has not I don't see it as adding so much of values to the
All right.
students.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. On this note, we'll have to be wrapping up with this conversation as we dive into another conversation. But I would like to say that instead of NYC trying to shift the blame to the federal government and the NYC itself, I think it is high time that JAM begin to work hand in hand with NYC and the federal government to ensure that they find a solution rather than shifting blame at this point. Because this is actually the life of people we are talking about here. And we understand Nigeria. Once we come to an agreement on something, there's nothing that can shift it. We understand that people with the OND certificate and the HND certificate, they have practical knowledge. So the fact that they have practical knowledge is enough for them not to even go for NYSC.
Exactly.
After all, the essence of the NYSC is to gather practical knowledge as regards to their field and also to encourage selfless service to humanity and also to the society. But then because these people has the practical knowledge of that field, it is expedient that they should even have the same upper hand as somebody with NYSC certificate. So instead of shifting blame here, JAM should take responsibility. And we understand that the JAM regularization for students who are still in school doing their OND ended the last day in August, but it would be nice of them to extend that hand of mercy, to extend that hand to all other persons who are also interested in going for the National Youth Service Corps, so that they can get regularized by JAMB and they can further go for whatever it is they want to go for. On this note, we'll be going on. You have something to?
No.
All right. So on this note, we'll be going on a quick break. As soon as we get back, we'll dive into another conversation that will interest you. Please stay tuned with us. We'll be right back.